Hello and welcome to an episode of Sparky Hobbies. My name is Ben, and today I'm doing my unboxing of Innistrad. I actually unboxed these cards quite a bit ago, but I did it in a particular way. I did something called Pack Wars. In Pack Wars, what you do is you take 3 of each basic land, and you shuffle it in a pack, and you play against your friends. So me and my girlfriend and a couple buddies took our packs, opened each pack, shuffled in 15 land, and fought each other in some epic wars, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun format with Innistrad, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I'm going to do my rares and uncommons, and that I got out of my box, and also talk a little bit about Innistrad itself. Innistrad features the very unusual mechanic of the double-faced card, and where you have some logistics where you either have to, in your deck, put this marker card in it, this checklist card, to represent your other card, because they don't have backs. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I actually really don't like the logistical nature of it, trying to go into your sleeve and flip these guys around, and or to, make some checklist cards and pull out the checklist cards and have some other cards standing by, like in your sideboard. Didn't like that. But when I did play with them, I did like the mechanic as far as it played. I just don't like the logistics of it. So let's see what I got. I got Instigator Gang, 2/3 for 4. Attacking creatures get a bonus, and at the beginning of upkeep, if no spells are played, flip it, and it becomes a 5/5 Trampler. Now this is like pretty big, because if you can flip this guy on the fourth turn, play him and then have him flip, it's likely that when you go to attack, your opponent's going to have a 4/4 or maybe a 3/3. So that means you're going to trample over with 3 plus maybe 2, maybe 1. So you're going to get through for kill a creature and get through for 4 damage if you block. So that's a pretty big card. Yeah, okay. Charmbreaker Devils costs a whole lot. Is sort of a build around Johnny mechanic, obviously, where at the beginning of each upkeep you get an instant or sorcery back, and whenever you cast it, it gives a big bonus to Charmbreaker Devils. I really think that Charmbreaker Devils costs a little bit too much and is a little bit too vulnerable. You have to jump through quite a bit of hoops to get it to go back and forth. And interestingly enough, probably the best thing they do is just, the sorcery to instant graveyard recursion, not necessarily the bonus in power and toughness to Charmbreaker Devils. I'm quite happy to get my pre-order, my Devil's Play, which is basically a fireball with flashback, which is awesome. I really encourage people who build decks to go ahead and put more land in their deck than what's necessary, because it's good to make the 5 casting cost drop on the 5th turn, and just put 1 or 2 of these spells that really eat up mana, really like mana, are mana hungry, so that way late game you have something that's going to just be a huge explosion, and it won't waste the extra mana. Let's say you build your deck with 25 mana. Go ahead and put 25 mana, 26 mana in your deck, but have a use for it for late game uses. Don't really like the fact that they went with the dragon in Innistrad. I really think that I liked the horror aspect better, like the old monster movie sort of theme that they had going. So it's great that they did a huge dragon that has global removal and everything like that, but I think thematically I just would have rather have passed on this card, especially since it's taking up a mythic rare slot. And I don't know how, if this dragon's particularly is going to feature in the storyline. So I mean, thematically I think it's weak. A huge global removal spell, particularly good in multiplayer, obviously, because it costs 1 less for every creature on the battlefield. So global removal does damage, and otherwise, it's going to be just too costly to play. Obviously, the Keswick Cagebreaker, since it gets you a wolf whenever it attacks, it's really good with Mayor of Avonbrook, who gives bonuses to wolves, which I did get. Elder of Laura's, I got the 2/3 for 3 that in multiples of 4, you can pump any multiple of 4 in, and target creature gets +X, or X the number of creatures you control. A lot of green cards have the count number of creatures you control. This one counts cards in your graveyard, creature cards in your graveyard. And it also basically gets more cards into your graveyard. It has Trample, Spinner Fright. Probably will be building a creature-based graveyard sort of deck in green, mostly because I really wanted to use the old Weatherlight cards that, you know, if you have a land in your graveyard, you can play this 4/4 creature for 2, and also if you have a creature card in your graveyard, you can play a 3/2 for 1 or something like that. There's a couple of cards in Weatherlight that actually are pretty good. Parallel Lives, so if you put 1 or more tokens into play, you basically put twice that many in. It's great. I'm thinking about building a Muruganda Petroglyphs Parallel Lives with the green-white guy that puts 2+1/+1 counters on any 1/1 creature without, you know, with no abilities. Well, that would be Muruganda Petroglyphs, but just put 1 on tokens. Gutter Slime, pretty excited about this card to get it. Whenever a creature dies, put a counter on and then put a slime token into play where the counters equals the tower and toughness of the slime. So that's pretty interesting. Really costly card, 8/8. And I think it would be a little bit more exciting, but possibly broken, if when, you know, Moldgraph Monstrosity died, it returned 2 creature cards from random from your graveyard and could possibly return itself. There were a couple cards in Innistrad that did do that, where they go to the graveyard and then you can possibly end up returning that card to your hand. But this one particularly exiles it. Mayor Avenbrook, obviously that was one of the pre-release cards. If you wanted to go to the pre-release, and other humans get +1/+1, and all other werewolves are humans, so it gives a really good bonus to basically each, you know, side of the whole werewolf aspect. And other werewolves get +1/+1 at the beginning of your end step. Put a 2/2 green wolf token in its place. So yeah, Mayor of Avenbrook's really good. Daybreak Ranger, 2 damage to target creature with flying. What does it turn into? Oh yes, one that does the fight, where you pay 1 mana, red mana, tap it, and the 2 creatures do damage to each other equal to their power. Morbid, don't know how this one's going to work, just because I guess it's a good way to, you know, very much sort of trade up for your tokens, because you could run a sacrifice deck and have the token that you need to sacrifice die, and then use other tokens to tap, obviously tap 2 and tap creatures, and then put a demon token into play. And you could always sacrifice obviously the demon token if you needed a creature to die again, so you could attack with it and then do it, you know, that sort of thing. So I don't know, I haven't really played with that card yet. It's been a while. The reason it took me so long is because I actually did the Pack Wars, and then those games took me like 40 minutes to play. So I was like, that's why I was going to do my unboxing that way, is play a game of Pack Wars, and then but when I did the video, it took 40 minutes, and I was just like, wow, that's going to take forever. So I've had these cards sitting on my desk for quite some time, and now it's time for me to do the unboxing video and get them off my decks and actually build decks with them. Sever Bloodline, when we played with it with my friends, it wasn't as bomb as I thought it was, even in like standard play, where it exercises target creatures, mostly because it doesn't exile cards in your graveyard, in your hand, your library, like some of the other black spells of this ilk have done. I think it would have been way more powerful had it done that, and I think all you would have needed to do is like remove 1 zone of play, like exile target creature and all other creatures in the graveyard. That would have been fine. Exile target creature and all other creatures from the library. That would have been very powerful, but the hand in the graveyard would have been safe. So I think they should have basically had the flashback, put 1 more zone of play in there, and basically do sort of a repeat of things. I did get the Curse of Death Holds. I have not played with this card. I hear it's interesting. Reaper from the Abyss, not too excited with that. A 6/6 flyer for 6 though, that's pretty good. And destroy a target non-demon creature if a creature died. So yeah, okay. Blood Gift Demon. At the beginning of your untap, target player draws a card and loses 1 life. It's a 5/4 flyer for 5. I'm a little bit more excited about the more aggressive curve on this than I am necessarily of Reaper of the Abyss. And I got a foil of that one apparently. Rooftop Storm. Zombie spells you cost 0. There's not a lot of really high casting cost zombies yet, so I think this card is going to get more interesting. Yeah, it's definitely a build around me card. Yeah, we'll have to see. I did get Snapcaster Mage, and yeah, what to say about this card? I really like this card. It's a really good card. I have problems playing with it. This happens to get into one of my very bad sort of habits, which is that when I have a card that is very utilitarian and can do a lot of different things, I just don't really know what sort of deck to put him in. And of course, really the best answer is to like cobble together 10 to 15 instances or sorceries that are really good and just throw this guy in and let him do his work. You know, he will take care of himself. But yeah, this is a card that I am particularly not very good about building around, and but obviously it's a wonderful card and it's really doing some awesome things in Standard right now. I'm very excited about Crackling Counterpart. Put a token copy of target creature, especially with like Phantasmal Image. Like, you know, Phantasmal Images with Crackling Counterparts are just like, would be totally exciting. And it has a flashback. Let's see here. Bring back for the bank. Exile target creature from graveyard and play its mana cost. Put a token copy, and it's an enchantment, so you can do this over and over again. Only do it in sorcery speed, but okay. I haven't played with it. Don't know. I did get the Scob Ruinator. It's a really bomb card in the sense that like it's a 5/6 flyer for 3. You do need to like sort of build your deck around it. When I was playing with Pack Wars, if you couldn't just add this into any deck and expect it to work. You really did need the creature cards going to your graveyard over and over again. So you did need what's the Thirst for Knowledge sort of one in Innistrad, I forget. I got Mentor of the Meek, another build around me card. Whenever a creature power 2 or less comes to the battlefield, you may pay 1 to draw a card. Well, I guess it's not really a build around me card. You can just put this in any deck and just use it for card draw, because you can do it. Oh, it's under your control. That's too bad. But oddly enough, you can do this on tokens. So like you can actually be aggressive with like attacker tokens and then draw cards off your tokens, because there are cards that when they die, they bring tokens into play underneath your control. So yeah, that would probably be my recommendation, because that would be a way to do it when your opponent was not expecting you to draw cards. Each player target chooses a creature and destroy the rest, so it's the Wrath of God in the set. Trying to think of like where I would really want to use this. Obviously, if you had an Angelic Overseer, it's indestructible. You could not choose Angelic Overseer and choose one other creature and destroy all the rest but your Angelic Overseer and chosen creature. So I don't know. At the beginning of upkeep, return target spirit card from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty exciting. A 4/4 flyer for 5 that has recursion, graveyard recursion for spirits. That's really good, and the art is awesome. For far as Innistrad art, I think it pretty much has some of the most exciting art that I've seen. I really like the sort of gothic, small town German themed sort of in the Black Forest in the Rhineland sort of art. It definitely has that gothic feel, northern France feel, and yeah, I just really like the art. I did get this card, and again, I don't know really how to use this card yet. I think it probably would be best with tokens. Obviously, I'd probably run it with a few Oblivion Rings, and trying to think of like how I diversify my non-creature side, because obviously the more small creatures that you can run and take advantage of the put +1/+1 counter advantage that might be good. Another thing that you might want to do with this card is run something with hexproof, because obviously if you can just make all of your creatures bigger and bigger after turn, it might be worth it to run like a Swift Foot Boots and run that, because that's why you could pay 2, get this guy out as a 1/1, put Swiftfoot Boots on him right away, and tap him right away, and do that. I got the Lead Exquisitor, a protection from vampire, wolves, and zombies. Pretty narrow, but it does have first strike and vigilance, so I'm sure with other humans it'll be good. When another human comes under play, it gets +1/+1. Great card for White Weenie. I'm actually more excited about the dual lands that are enemy colors than I were the allied colors, because I just have more trouble getting the allied colors to like work together usually, and so usually not very excited about getting the dual lands, but in this particular circumstance, and plus the art is just awesome, just gotta love that art. In this particular circumstance, I was a little bit more excited to get some of the dual lands, and I do like the spell lands. Nephila down, target puts top 3 cards of his library into his graveyard. Not the best of ones. I did get the Kessig Wolfrund, which is totally bomb. I've seen it in play, and it just crunches people. Like, all you need is just, this is like where more land is not a hindrance, and you can do it over and over again. And the fact that it has trample, put it on a creature that you don't care dies, swing in, let it take out somebody else, because they're going to have to soak up some damage or just roll over and die. Awesome card. Another card that I'm actually quite excited about is this one, which is just exile a card from your graveyard and put a 1 white spirit token into play. I think there's actually quite a bit of uses for this. It's indestructible and it loses defender, but otherwise it's a 4/4/5, and yeah, I think this is playable, mostly because it's indestructible and it makes a great blocker. So I don't think there's really anything that's going to be giving it, -4, -4. And I don't think as an exile target it's that attractive. So it actually, I think, is going to avoid exiling. Like, Oblivion Ring, probably not going to target it the first turn unless you, gave it flying and then attack with it. And then they're going to be like, okay, that's a little bit bad. Obviously, if you can give it somehow vigilance, it's going to be more exciting. I think I got 2 Witchblade Swords. No, I didn't. Gives you hexproof, destroy all curses. So hexproof in any color. I think this will be more impactful on some of like the legacy and vintage formats. But vintage and legacy right now has been a little bit more creature aggressive and done damage versus like just straight out combo out. So I don't know how this is going to impact like some of the other older formats. I got 2 versions of Creepy Doll, indestructible 1, and you flip a coin, and if you win the flip, you destroy that creature if it deals combat damage to a creature. So, but it costs 5. I don't know. Very quirky kind of card. Not a big fan, but I could put it in my coin flip deck, and with the Kurok's Thumb, which allows you to flip 2 coins instead of 1 and ignore 1. But so that's all my rares for this unboxing, and hope you enjoyed it. It took quite a while, but I hope you enjoyed the commentary, and I hope you have fun and have a good day. Bye-bye.